the air and see how that goes. And you want to be the torch guy and just hold that. As I say, I usually wear a light shade for this operation, so I don't have to worry about whether or not that brightness in the inner cone is doing me dirt. But everything in moderation, you know. Now at this point, this edge is going into compression, and it wants to wrinkle. So we're going to have to be very careful to not let it wrinkle. And this is a place where we're at odds between wanting the metal to be thin and wanting the metal to be thick. The thicker it is, the less it's going to want to wrinkle. But if it's too thick, it's a little harder to manage. Just steady the end. We're having a vague conflict about where I'd like the flame and where you'd like the flame. Shifting to the outside here because it's a little easier to get it more perpendicular to the. Oops, oops, oops. Perpendicular to the work. Okay, and this is going to take a few iterations. I've sometimes done this intentionally tapering the thing out from full thickness down to thinner out here, just so that it rolls better. The problem with that is then you end up with a very thin edge where it has to collapse, or it has to collapse on itself without falling into wrinkles. And you could make an argument for doing this phase of the operation over a rounded tool to support it in roundness, to keep it from bending too abruptly at the first bend. You can also try and control where it's bending by a more careful application of heat. If it's orange out at the edge and black at the first place where it's bent, it'll roll rather than fold. Whereas if it was orange everywhere, it would fold. I can tell I'm out of practice. My thumb is cramping from holding the work. The thing that started to bulge there, so I knocked it straight down, lest it turn into something untoward. There's that noise again. I shifted from supporting it just on nothing to supporting it here, because I'm trying to hammer it down more now, and it'll move too much. Whereas here, we're hammering this way, we're hammering in a way which is closer to down through the center of gravity of the piece. Now we're just twisting the piece, so I really need to get some support under it. That sound of that furnace reminds me of something that I heard Jason Klein say. Jason Klein is the historic glasswork guy. He says when he was You know, years ago when he worked at the Ren Fair, he still works at the Ren Fair, and now he owns a house just like down the block from it. But he used to live above the glass shop in the Ren Fair, up in the attic of the glass shop. And of course you run the fire all day, all night to keep the glass hot. So he would sometimes wake up with a start because like he would hear the fire stop for an instant, and then it would catch on the residual heat and he'd go back to sleep. He says, and that was either the coolest thing I've ever done or the stupidest. I think it was the stupidest. You know, he'd just like live above this glass, and periodically the flame would burp and it would wake him up, and then it would be okay again.
That could be very exciting.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's more, it's a young guy thing, you know. Once you get old enough to have some idea that death might occur to you, then it becomes a lot less cool and a lot stupider. That I'm going to do is going to bring this lower edge into compression because it's curved this way and it's curved this way. So everything that happens, well, no, I take that back. Because it's curved this way, we're getting a little bit of tension as we're bringing it out. But as we start bringing it back in, we're going to go into compression for sure. But in any case, compression is going to be the enemy, and we got to keep it from falling into folds. Now, if you're doing a breastplate down in the bottom of the arm side, you're going to run into tension, and the tendency is going to be one that's going to, the metal's going to behave itself better in terms of whether it falls in the folds. It doesn't want to fall in the folds, but that same tension is going to be your enemy in terms of keeping the hem from getting shallow. Here, the metal wants to fall in the folds, and if anything, the hem wants to get deeper. But down in here, that hem is going to try to get shallow, and you've got to fight that while you're working. So it's one of those things you got to sort of think it through as you're working and try to decide which way you need to bias the initial material, and which way you need to bias your work to keep it from doing what it wants to do, which is to get skinny in one place and get fat in another place and roll, fold rather than roll. Now at some point, I'm going to run out of the ability to do this with a flat face. I'm going to have to switch to another hammer. Yeah, I'm taking bumps out. This is not the best tool for this job, of course. I mean, I should have like a beak of some sort, right? It should be an anvil horn or a ball. I could do something. Let's come over to the ball. Low enough I can work here. And well, this ball is really too big a radius because we got a little tic tac going there, but we'll work with it anyway. I don't like that. I'm going to come to this anvil. Can we move this out of the way? Yeah, this is good. It's a little lower than I like to do this work, so it's going to make my back hurt in a minute. I keep two anvils. I keep one at a heavy work level like this guy, and then I keep another one up on the bench much closer to my face. And I want to do this work up here. Because I mean, heavy work you want to do down here, but light work, is better done up closer to the eyes.
I had a chair for mine.
A chair?
Sit down. And then
yeah. Oh, I see. Yes, that'll work.
I think it worked.
If your feet didn't work, how did you tell you were working?
fact, my shoulder stopped working.
Okay. All right, I'm coming close to what I can do with this hammer at this point.
The shop's warming up.
Yeah, it's warming up. And I'm working. And you know, I haven't had any scale fall on my forearms in a while.
Don't you miss it?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll probably find some around here somewhere.
I'm generating it. Okay, so we've almost got a kind of a round hem going. I'm going to start. Well, no, I think I'm going to continue trying to turn it round. What do I need for a hammer in there? I mean, a little square-faced hammer like this guy might be. Yeah, we're going to try this.
Better handle on that.
Can't use that. That's ridiculous.
You think he wants that little square and round planisher out of the car?
Oh, nice.
I guess we have to use this.
I've got a very small, round, and square planisher out in the car. Do you want that?
Let's see it, yeah.
Okay, that's, oh, the videos, this is not what to do with a hammer. It flies off, it'll hit somebody over there.
I'm hoping that I'm like on the ball enough to know when it's going to happen and so forth. I may just be flattering myself or fooling myself.
There it is.
I wanted to give the mistaken impression this was going to be fast, did I?
No, no.
No.
You did say it was tricky.
I gotta say, I think I might start doing my rolls.
And we never want to take anything and tuck it in too tight, because it is. Oh, okay, thank you. It is a lot of trouble to bring it back if it's too tight. You know, making it tighter is easy. Making it untight is a lot of trouble. Okay, now, at this point, I got this in contact, this is not in contact. If I continue to bring this down until it is in contact, then this is going to look a little skinny up here. So I really got to sort of knock some down from the top. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if I tuck this in, this is going to look a little skinny. So I should have like started taking it down from the top a little sooner. But so we're going to heat in a more general way here, so as to roll the whole thing some more. This little hammer is leaving bad marks. Okay, same thing right there. Okay, and of course when I'm doing that, I'm focusing my eyes on that edge. I want that edge to creep down to where I want it to be, and I'm just like the hammering machine, and I'm watching the edge, and I stop being the hammering machine when the edge comes to where I want it to. As far as like, where the attention is focused on that operation. Just watch the edge creep down. To think about angling this up now. You could start by bringing it all the way down as a round hem and then square it off. But I'm just starting to think about squaring it off as I go. Am I going to burn my shirt? Could be. It's the wrong hammer for the job here because I can put smiles in this surface and it'll be difficult to get out.
Smiles.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What I would like is a square-faced hammer with the corners round. I mean, there's a particular square-faced hammer of my dreams that is not here. So we'll have to just substitute hammer control for the right hammer. It's a funny sounding aircraft, isn't it?
Turboprop.
Is it? Okay. Up once and got a skid there, but it's gonna grind out okay. I mean, realistically, there's gonna be skid marks on the surface before it's all said and done. As long as they're grind outable. Is that a word? No.
It's English.
Yeah, we can make words. We own this language.
Right. Nouns can be verbs. Verbs
They
can be nouns.
That's right. Nouns can be verbed. Verb and noun.
Verbalized.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Always add a couple of syllables if you can.
Sure.
We can multisyllabulate that.
I'm not sure that's a word.
Multisyllabalize.
That's a word.
Okay. One demerit.
Well, that's the apprentice's job to go polish that off.
Well, there should be a system of forfeits in the shop, where every one of those dings represents a beer. You got to buy the whole crew or something.
No.
But not today. Not today. Hit that. There's a really great book by Joe Moxon, who's writing in 1690. Thing called Mechanic Exercises in the Whole Art of Printing. And when he says the whole art of printing, he really does mean the whole damned art of printing. He tells you everything about printing, starting with how to make a press. And it goes on to tell you how to misbehave in the shop. You know, he tells you like things that you, practical jokes which are frequently played and why you shouldn't and how you can if you're gonna. And how you keep track of this in the shop by system of forfeits.
So it has the facility of antiquity.
It's antique enough. For example, in Moxon's printing shop, you don't swear. And if someone does swear, he's obliged to put a coin in the kitty. And at the end of the week, they drink the coins in the kitty.
Alright.
But you must not mention it before the end of the week. If you mention drinking from the coins in the kitty before the end of the week, you have to put a coin in the kitty. If someone insults you, let's say you're the press man, the guy who pulls the lever, the horse. If you're the horse, and while you're out to lunch or like have your back turned, the guy who's composing type puts a wisp of straw on the platen where you will see it, calling you a horse, you may say, "I wish to purchase a solace against the man who's done this." And then somebody in the shop says, "Bob did it," and then Bob has to put a solace. He has to put a coin in the kitty. So your shopmates will blow you in for doing it because they know that they get to drink that at the end of the week, but they can't talk about it. He tells you how to play a gambling game with the quadrats. The quadrats are those square spacers that go in between type for maintaining spaces. But you play a game with the quadrats because they're not really square. They have like a long side and a short side and a side with a nick in it to mark it and so forth. And you can use them like dice. And you play these on the imposing stone, on the big block that the type composer sets up the type on. But you must not do this because it is ruinous to the quadrats because they're lead alloy. They can't take the being thrown upon the imposing stone. And also it disturbs the type composer. It bothers the guy who's like doing that. So you mustn't play at quadrats, and if you get caught at it, you must put money in the kitty. I'm very tempted to believe that this sort of system goes pretty far back. Just like whenever you get a bunch of guys together trying to cooperate in something, I'm sure that there's going to be like friction which needs to be resolved and drinking which needs to happen at the end of the week. Shit, now I screwed up here. I've gotten that in too far. And I'm going to try and heat that up and drive it from the top and see if I can pop it out a little bit, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Have you ever heated it up, shoved a screwdriver into there?
Oh, yeah, if you have to.
Yeah, it moved.
Yeah, it moved, and I think I can make the other piece come in enough that when it's all said and done, it won't be so bad.
It's got kind of a wave.
Yeah. Shouldn't we all be like taking ecstasy or something? I don't know.
We already did.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Right up there with your morning ibuprofen.
Yeah. I usually take mine in the evening, but yeah. Ibuprofen at every meal. Okay, because I'm on display here, I haven't set the hammer down in a while. My hands are beginning to cramp. and you know, it's a good excuse to like take a little bit of a breather. But we see it's starting to shape up, right? It's coming to be an edge, and you see that if we continue this operation, it can be pretty damn sharp. And you remember how much material was there. It wasn't thinned appreciably except at the ends, which means, you know, we're starting out with, what is this? This is 50 thousandths. We're starting out with 50 thousandths of an inch to grind. We could grind through half of that and sharpen this bad boy up pretty much and still have a pretty strong hem. Now, ideally, we don't want to have to grind through half of it, but if it came to that, we could. Okay. I want to this hammer will do. Yeah, the grip on this hammer is suboptimal. I think everyone will agree with that. I mean, I hate to just like be always bitching about the tools. Look at this.
So many people don't understand the ergonomics of a good handle.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to get the kind of thing I want down here. I'm going to give up on the triangulation down in here and work toward just making this area nice and calling it a demonstration. Yeah, I got some wrinkles forming here, and it's does not do me credit.
Now, when you do that, are you looking for with the hammerhead similar to what you're doing, or just narrow enough to get down to the bottom?
You know, if it was a square face that didn't have a piece of hammerhead, a handle sticking out the end of it, I would use the square face to get down into the corner. Yeah, we'll try that one. Thank you. I managed to catch the edge a couple of times with this because it was unfamiliar, but
Well,
it probably is a better tool.
that's the one I try to buff the top edge off, so if it skids,
Uh-huh.
it just skids. It doesn't bother you.
I like the weight of this, but the neck is a little long somehow. Well, the neck isn't really any longer. And somehow it isn't. This one in his barbarism is somehow somehow managing to get closer to the platonic ideal. Oops. Yeah, I haven't snuffed off the flame and popped it yet, huh?
No, how that? Doing good.
It looks nice.
Yeah, this is the worst part right there. And I'm gonna switch to a heavier hammer and see if I can bump that down. I'm gonna heat it. Yeah, right down in that divot. And I'm gonna see if I can just like move everything down. And I love that creaking sound.
Moved it a
A
bit.
little bit. Just, yeah, this is not a beautiful hem, but it's not so bad. It's just, yeah, let's turn the torch off at this point. I would not say that this hem is done. There's still more that can be done on this, but, you know, we're getting to diminishing returns here as far as the demonstration is concerned. You guys, you can see what I was doing and where I was heading. You know, the places that are sharp look really nice. These places that are dull can be made sharp under the hammer, and, you know, beyond that, they can be sharpened under the grinder, because I say we got 50 thousandths of an inch of material to play with. There's a little bit of trouble down in here. I got like a couple of depressed areas, which may or may not grind out smooth. It would not be the only example in the world that had areas that failed to grind out properly. There are real ones like that too. Nobody's proud of them, but there are real ones that have areas that didn't grind out. And this area here could use more sharpening. But I'm sort of running out of something. I mean, this area I've got pretty sharp, but this one I would need to come back and do some more of the same. But that's the basic idea. And if nothing else, I'm sure that you learn from this that you got to charge more for triangular hems. You know, because it took